what we see on the screen is actually one of these is a cabinet with, or actually a wardrobe with some sliding doors. How did you create these panels?
These panels are they are not only materials applied in bars and things like that. This is actually a truly 3D modeled unit. And first, it might look, very complex, but as you will see, it will be very easy to build up something like this once you know what are the possibilities when you design a cabinet door using the cabinet door tool.
Yes.
So let's see first how the cabinet door tool works. It's in the KBB, and it's this option here. And by default, it's just giving you a panel which you can, customize the materials on each side, even on the corner, on the edges. You can even set up whether it's, rounded or something like that. For example, to define something like just
what the edge we have
in front of here. It's a very, very tiny round off, but it's there. If I would create close renders or something like that, that could be important. Let's go here. This is the first thing where you can actually change the shape of the front panel itself. This is the inset. Now, the inset is by default set to be automatic and by default set to be negative. And then let's see what happens if I click create. It is giving me a negative 10 millimeter wide, 10 millimeter deep panel, kind of bevel. It's an inset here. But I can change its depth, I can change its direction. It can be actually an addition. And this could be something like a no depth option, which is good for decoration. It's like if it's just like a kind of decal or something like that, you can use the same method. Now I'm actually using a negative inset. I'm fine with this option, and to show how the automatic profile works, because see, there are other options like the crown, the front arc, these other options. These are design options that you can design these contours, these closed loops. You can save them and then you can browse for them. If you go with the automatic profile means that it is automatically following the contours of wherever they are pasted. Now they are pasted in a rectangle, so it's rectangular shape. But remember, when we had this unit under the staircase, there was a triangular cut, and even though I have selected a regular door, it was automatically applied to the triangular shape simply because it was not defined to be rectangle, it was defined to be automatic. And that's how this whole thing works. So if I go with automatic and I set up the offsets from the sides, I will get a dynamic door result which can be applied to many different situations. So I don't have to redesign shape by shape, it will follow the changes. Say I'm about to change this to, see, what happens if it's the same offset? It's just simply changing the offset all around. If I just disable this option, same offset, I can do that one by one, and I can make, for example, an asymmetrical inset, for the handle or for decoration purposes or other means. And then I can just add the new one and new one and new one. So for example, I can add tiny rectangles here to add some decoration or something like that. The same way, I can actually add something like a hole, or this is actually called a hole, but it's also for glazing. By as its default setting, it is set to be glazing. It has a thickness of 2 millimeters, and it has an offset. So this means this will be in the center in the core center of the panel thickness itself. So when I say, okay, let's just disable this, I already know that this should not be symmetrical. This should be 150, for example, from the left-hand side. Okay, let's update and create, and this is what I end up with. And there's the glazing here. So this is what I ended up with. And again, there's the option to add more and more and more if the shape is more complex. The third page, in this section, the third page is the subtract profile, and this goes like that. You have a so-called path, that's the frontal profile. It's a path where there is a kind of carving knife or something like that. It's carving into the wood, and the cross section of this knife you can define here. Let's just go with an option like this, for example. This will look good. You can see this is a nice carving profile.
Would you need to flip that profile?
Yeah,
inside
actually I
because
do.
You want to extract that from the.
Yeah, I do, because if I do it this way now, this bottom part is cutting into the wood. So the nice curvy part is actually facing outwards, and that's not what I want. So I just go to the profile settings, and I just flip it around the x-axis, okay? And I even align it with its bottom to the wood panel, okay? And then now it's much better. It's looking good.
How many of these profiles can you have on one?
Yeah, okay, again, just as before, you can add more and more and more, just as many as you need. If you would like to, recreate something from a catalog or something like that, because it was not modeled, and you are about to do that now, the only thing that you need to understand, what are the tiny particles that you can, break it down, and using these tools, what are the solutions that you could use. Now, let me just show another way, because the same way as I did this subtraction profile, I could actually add an addition profile, which is a decorative extra. It's added as a positive extension to this surface. And well, in this case, I would even go beyond the default possibility. I can again select different predefined shapes, and I can go with the automatic profile. But what happens if I just would like to have a vertical bar? In that case, I just go and find there is actually something called vertical. There was something called horizontal as well. And then now I use this, and again, just keep it simple. I use the same profile. This profile is facing the correct direction. I only need to change the
externally.
I only need to change this reference point. I would like to snap this part to the surface of the cabinet door in this case, and say okay. And let's just see what happens here. Now I have a profile which is a vertical bar. It's here, and it is having offsets here. And it is having the same offsets all around, and it's told to be 20. Let's just disable this. What happens now? I still have the same result. I actually have 20 from here, 20 from here, but certainly I have different values here. But why is that appearing here? Now the software, if you work with a section, an open profile like this is a single bar. Now, then the software understands these because they are both logged, and mentioning these are logs here, tiny padlock icons. They are all logged. So this way you tell the software, okay, keep 20 here, keep 20 here, keep 20 here, and keep 20 here as well.
So how
now
does it know
that can be only solved if with kind of the same power, it is pulling the same way. So it's just like a ratio from that. So it's 50-50 actually. So if I disable this option, I can tell the software, okay, don't mind what happens here, just keep it locked here. I can do the same other way around. Okay, so I can just snap it this way, and then I think I will just change it to 60 and 60 and 60. And then I just click on create, and now I have created something like
this.
this.
You can have as many.
The same way you can add, carvings and things like that. So this is how you can create quite, complex. It looks very complex, but as you can see, the basic steps are very simple to keep following and creating something like this.
We'll show you some further examples later on. Now let's look at that wardrobe over there.
By default, just a side note here, when you create something and you hit OK, you can actually place it as a panel anywhere. And it's good for a reason when you would like to, there are units, and sometimes you would like to fill the gap between the units with panels. And in this case, you will use this. You just design a panel, you just fill the gap, and then you just progress. Okay, I just get rid of this, and then now we can, I think now is the time when we can deep dive into this unit, this panel, and understand how this was designed. Let's see, what do we have here? Well, the first page is not that much important. It's just having a certain width, height, and the thickness. That's fine. That's just a regular thing. There is another thing that it's actually having rounded edges.
If you zoom in, maybe we
if we zoom in, we can see it happening here.
Don't forget that you can add round edges as many as you want, but this would make more surfaces into your model.
It makes the model more complex, and if your model is having too many of these, perhaps it could slow down a bit. So Let's go further. Is there any inset profile? Yes, we do have inset profile. We actually have two of them, and one looks to be this painted area, and the other looks to be the mirror. What's the difference between the two? The first one was added with this one and an automatic profile, and see the offsets are locked from this distance and from this distance to a certain ratio. So from this point on, however I stretch the door, this area here will always be 725, and this will be always 725. This is the area that will be stretched or shrunk. And see what happens here. The next one, that's the mirror.
Yes.
The mirror is quite similar. The only difference between the two, that this is a no depth. It's just a decoration. And the other one is having a little bit of thickness, like a mirror panel would have. It's a positive 1 millimeter. Perhaps we could add more, but in this case 1 millimeter was enough. It looks like that.
I see.
And then it was also constrained to this and this and this and this side. So again, I can just resize it and still having the same offset from the sides. This is how it was done. And I did not mention before, but this is the place where you can set up the material for the area. Is there any hole? We do not see, and there is no hole because I cannot see any here appearing. Is there any carve in here? No, we do not have any. Is there any addition profile? Yes, we actually have 4 of them. One is this here. This is that's the handlebar. It's it's a very specific handlebar in case of these sliding doors. There's an aluminum panel,
pushed
onto the side. And this is actually a cross-section profile which I designed based on a photograph of a cross-section like that. I saved it, and when I go to this section, I can go to the details, and I can show you that this is the the reference point which I picked, so I could align it together with the door panel properly. So this is how it was created. And actually, there is the other one on the other side. Let me just quickly go there. That's the other one.
It's just a mirror image.
It's just mirrored. Yeah.
What about the vertical panels?
The verticals here, you can either use this, or you can actually click on the bar itself, so the software will select it. And this is actually just a simple rectangular profile having a specific constraint from the top, and that is happening here as well, but it's repeated with the bottom, so it's constrained to the edge, and 725 from the bottom, and it looks like this. And if you would like to see the cross section how it goes, it looks like that, and there's a vertical bar, and that's fabbed along this path.
One very good sort of jump list is on the right hand side below insets. You can just toggle between the things. That
you can actually, if your screen is too small and you don't want to see this, you can actually toggle this panel.
Yes, but it's a good way to keep track of what you have added already.
Yeah, so this is how it was done, and then when you say okay, then the software creates that. You can change the shape. We can even save this into the libraries. That was the last page here, and if you would like to use it for further references, you can do that.
I think that's what happened actually here. You had one version, and then you removed the mirror and used it 2 more times, right?
Yeah, that's the trick here.